Hello everyone, welcome back to again my channel, and this is same series of C Sharp beginner concept. And previously we have covered this basic operations. So now we will move it to another concept which is called control flow statement. So let's start to implementation. So right click on that, go to that new project and add a new console application. Next, and then make it a name over there, so which is called part 4 and control flow statement. Next, keep it same, create and remove from there. Okay, and now we'll start that control flow statement. So before start, just we have to know the definitions and what is that control flow statement. So control flow allow that program to make decisions and repeats actions, and there is a couple of concept as well in the control flow. So one of the one first concept of over here, that if else. Okay, so let me start on a practical so that we can understand easily. So first of all, let me start and declare a variable as a score, and then we'll start the if statement. So what is that if statement? So let me write it down over here, and then make it this guy, suppose 90, right? I make a conditions over here inside that if conditions, and we will just, if it is match these conditions, right? So whatever that is score, suppose the score is more than 85, right? Or it is 85. So if it is match these conditions, so then we have to print out this value. Else we will check another conditions over here, right? So see, that's why we are using else if, right? Suppose if, always be checking starting from if, like conditions, and then if I want to compare like one of the value of the in this series, right? So definitely we have to record else if, so that it will check from here. If it is not matched, then it will went to on this condition else if, and then once I can meet the conditions over here, like for example 75, right? And in this 75, if I just put some variables over here, some output, like okay, it should be a grid B. Suppose if it is match this condition, so it will returning this one and return back to that applications. And then finally, if it is not match any conditions in this complete flow, so then what I need to do, I have to just set it some default value for this conditions, right? So like this way, suppose match this condition, so it will returning this. If it is match this condition, returning this. If it is does not match any of condition, then finally in the it will bend to else block and it will returning as a default value. So that is called actually if else, right? And let me run this application and see in a example and as output. So choose that part 4 control flow statement and run this application. As of now we have 85, right? So it should be bent, it should be when this conditions, it should be match actually the else if conditions. So run it, and now see it is grade B. That means 85 is less than 90 and it is greater than 75, right? So that condition match, and that's why it's printed over here. And similar, I can just debug over here and I can show it over here, like how actually execution of over here. So let me run it one more time over here. So now see, once you run, it is reaching over here, and once over here, now see 85, it is 85 but it is greater than, so it will bend to another execution over here. So now see it is matching over here, so it will go to inside this web and print out and showing that output like this, right? So this is actually that concept of if else if, right? And now moving to another concept, but before that actually let me tell you that what does mean of this concept in a one line, in a short. So conditional statement to control the flow based on that conditions, right? So this is a one line of concept. And then moving to next concept, which is switch case over here, which is part of this control flow, right? So this is another concept of switch case and default, right? So how we can use it, like, so let me start in a practical. So again, let me just start a variable or declare a variable over here, right? And then once you declare a variable, we have a switch over here. So let me define as a switch, and in this switch let me pass whatever that variable over there, right? So in this variable, now see, in this switch by default it is saying it is the case 1, right? So whatever case you want to define, you can define over here. Not only just integer, if you want to define as another type also, you can define it. For example, let me define first in the complete code, then I'll explain like how we can change it to this type. So in this case 1, right? So what I will do, I will just, if it is match this case, right, if it is match the case, so it should be print out over here, and then finally it will break it, right? Similar, I can just I can just similar, I can use case 2 and then just print out some value over here, then case 3, and also case 3 something value I want to print, right? So not only this guy, right? So I'm just giving one example for the day, right? So similar we can use it, our that another example, like January, February, and a year, month, right? So those also we can use it. And then finally, see, suppose whatever case it's meet, it is fine. If it is not meet, so we have to set some default. So this is default, and here what I can do again, which simply whatever the default message, whatever default output we want to print out, so we can simply show it over here like this, say. So now okay, let me just formatting this one. Okay, so see, if it is match case 1, so it will returning this value. It will match this case, so it will returning this value. If it is match this case, it will return video. If it is does not match any value from this case, so it will go to and print out, or it will returning to default value, right? So this is actually way to switch case and default concept, right? And let me run this application and see. So now see, okay, now it is a debugging mode, so let me remove the debugging mode, continue, and once you continue, now see, I'm getting that value Wednesday, because see, I'm just set the value is 3, so 3 is where 3 is match this case, and this case returning Wednesday, so that's why it is output is Wednesday, right? So like this way. So that is fine. Then what I can do, simply if I change something else, like for example 1, so it should be match over here, right? And let me run this again. Now see, it is match over here. Now it is goes to Monday. And similar, if I just change to 0, because this is not part of any of case, so what would be happen? It would be returning the default value, like invalid day, right? So like this way we can use it, utilize this switch case statement, right? And yeah, also I just told you, like only not support it to integer. If I want to like for example is another type, so that also I can use it. For example, instead of integer, let me use a string. And for example, if I use a Jan, right? So if it is Jan, and just remove this guy and just declare a variable, for example month, right? And in this month I just set is a Jan, or just whatever value you want, like complete value, right? So just set it over here as a switch case, right? And if you're using a string value, right? So in this case you have to declare, instead of integer, you can just declare whatever that value, like for example Jan, you can set as a Jan, and it is setting January, right? Similar, you can just set it a Feb, and it is a February, right? And then just make it to March, so it is just March, right? And then finally invalid month, right, as like this guy. So as of now I just set it January, so it should be print out to January, So let me run it and see in action. Let me run this application. Now see, it's printing January, right? So like this way also you can just define. Similar, if I just pass something which is not matching, so it should be give us that invalid value. Like for example, see in action. Now see, invalid month, right? So this is the way. So now if I talk about a concept in a one line, in a short, for this switch case statement. So the switch statement provides an alternative to multiple if else condition when checking our variables a value, right? So we can avoid this, like see this whatever we are trying to achieve over here, that we can easily achieve over here as well, right? So but in switch case we can avoid this, if else, like suppose for example, if I run this, if I implement in a if else condition, so definitely I have to record 4 time or 5 time if else condition, like if it is match this guy, so return this. If else return matches this guy, so it will return this. So in this case every execution, actually every time they will checking all the place, right? So there's a that's why actually we comes in the switch case and default concept, like whatever that switch we have defined over here, if it is match over there, so it will directly bind to that condition. It will not try to match any other condition. That will direct to match to that condition and returning back to the output, right? So that's why actually we are using this concept in this C#. Okay, now moving to another concept that is called while, do while, or for loop, right? So this is that concept, like while, do while, and for loop. And let me see in a practical example. So first I will just declare as a for loop, and it is first actually we have to define integer as a value. So this is a value variable, and this variable will match over here. Let me less than let me decrease that value to 10 to 5, and then increment. Okay, inside this loop I will just print out the value, for example this, right? So what will happen and how actually working this loop? Now see, I define as a for loop, right? What will checking first they will checking, okay, what is that initial value of this particular variable? So it is particular variable is 0, and thus it is 0, right? And then 0 is greater than is 5, no, that means it is match the condition. Then it is come inside over here, it will print out this guy, right? And once you print this guy, it will be increase over here 1 plus or sorry, it is a 0, right? So 0 plus 1, right? Because it is plus 1 increment. So what will happen? It will be equal to 1. So next time this value would be, instead of 0, it would be 1. And once you 1, again it will checking, it will match, it is less than 5, right? I is less than 5. So what will happen? Again it will print is 2, right? And then again same thing is following again and again. So this is actually loop. So like this way it will working in a loop. So let me run this application and see in action. See, whatever just I showing this output, right? So see, first time they printing 0 because first time is a 0, then second time is 1 because it is then increment, then again increment, and once I match this increment is 5, so 5 is less than 5, right? So this condition is false, so that time it is not going to inside this loop. It is exit from that loop and close that program, right? Like this way actually working that for loop. Now another concept is while loop, right? Similar concept, like they are iterating that all that iteration, but definition or define the way is little slightly different. So let me go to that next concept, which is a while loop. So how we can declare that while loop condition? So first again we have to use the j, like declare the value over here first, and then using that while. And in this while let me check this condition, whatever checking this condition, right? So similar condition we have to check it over here, like j less than 5, and then whatever that printing, I just simply is printing over here like if it is match the condition, so I need to print this value. And after that, once I printing this value, I need to just increase that value, whatever I just increasing, right? So now see, initialize value, I initialize value, condition checking, I condition checking, but using this while, and then increment, I just increment, right? So this is the way to using the while loop. Again, the iteration, the statement, and then run this application again. And now see, while loop again, just for loop is like the for loop is working, same thing is working for while loop, but slightly different the syntax, right? Similar another concept which is do while. So let me again initialize k, right? And then this time instead of while we have to use do, because inside the do I have to printed the value. So let me print out that value is do while, like using that k. So first time is came and it will print as 0, and then what I will try to do, I will just increment, and once I increment, then finally inside do they will check the while, like if it is k is less than 5, then until greater than 5 or less than 5, so it will going to the loop, right? And just simply again run this application and see, do while also is working as a same output, but slightly different syntax is changes, right? Like this way we can use as a loops. And if I talk about a concept for this loop, like while loop, do while loop, so in a one line in a short, so loops are used to repeat blocks, like we are repeating this blocks, right, of the code a specific number of the time or until a condition is not met, right? So that is actually the concept of this loop. Now moving to another concept, which is a break and continue. So let me see in a practical what that means, break and conditions. Okay, so as we just use this loop, right? So if I want to break some particular conditions, right, so that time I have to use that break. And if I want to skip something, so that time based on the condition, so I have to use that continue. Okay, so let me see in a practical. So let me create a loop again, right? For examples, I'll just taking the same loop, right? So let me use this loop and go down, and just over here just remove everything, because I want to just print out this value only. So let me print out this value, but before print out, what I want to set over here, like, so I will use the if conditions, right? And in this if condition I will try to match, like if match this condition, like if match I equal to 3, then I want to stop this loop, right? So let me just stop this loop, and that's it, right? So once until match this condition, loop will be executed, but after match this condition it will break, and rest of that number will not be printed, right? So let me see in actions. Now see, it is printing 0 1 2, because 3 is match. After that 4 is not printed because it is break from here. So that is called as a break concept. And then let me copy as a continue, copy as a for loop, and then use this continue. So let me, instead of this, let me use that continue. Okay, and same conditions, but I just use this continue. And in this continue, what will happen, let me see in actions, so that I can explain better. So run this application again, and now see, this time again, so okay, let me break it over here so that we can differentiate. Okay, break, right, and save it and run this application. Okay, so now see that break before break it is just printing 2, but after break what happened, starting 0, that is fine, and yeah, then 1 also fine, 2 is also fine. But see, once it comes in down in 3, what happened, it is just skipping that part, because once it over here this continue and skipping this complete loop and increasing that value, and then finally it's come again to 4, and rest of that iteration it is printing over there, right? So the concept over here, that break and continue, the break exists the loop, right? And while continue, skipping that current iteration and move to the next one, right? So this is that concept actually. So that's all for this session, right? And for next session we'll come for another concept which is called array. Okay, so till now, thank you, have a nice day, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.